Frank Leboeuf pops up. Here he is, Frank with us, as is Don. Frank, what struck you since you've been back in France? What's the kind of vibe ahead of this clash against England?
Well, talking to medias and also talking to the fans, to the people of France, there is lots of respect for that English team, and everybody's consider that it's going to be a tricky game to win, but they all respectfully think that France at the end of the day is going to win it because, of course, they're the French. Well, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a lot about details. Everybody realized that the English team has in the front line one of the best front line in the world, even if they think that France are better. But it's really in the middle of the park that they find that the power of England is the biggest because of Rice, Bellingham, and maybe Henderson playing in the middle of the park, and where with Tchouaméni and Rabiot, even if they do well, they're not as good, I would say, that those players in England. Again, in both sides, it will be a defensive, maybe weakness that could make a difference for any team. But it's going to be tight to say who's going to win. And I know it's very, very hard right now.
Frank doesn't talk to the people on the street in Paris.
No, he does. He talks to everybody, anywhere.
He talks to his entourage.
Yes, yeah.
His entourage. But
how are you feeling about this one?
He's bored. Very bored. He's not getting no vibe for it.
I think France will win. I think that as good as Maguire and Stones have been, that first 20 minutes against Senegal,
right,
they looked a little shaky under pressure, and it's really the first spell of real mounted pressure they had faced, and they didn't look very comfortable. And I think that's what France are going to do to them. So I think that's why France are going to win.
England, of course, renowned for being very calm and collected in these sort of situations when it comes to the fans and the media, Don. How excited are they going into this clash?
I think they are, because I think what they feel as though, they feel as though their team can compete with anyone, and I think they're right to think that way. I think there's lots of respect. I think, as Frank said, I think they know. I think they're playing against the top side. And I'm glad that Julian had the interview there with Rabiot, because I think he's been amazing. He does the work of two men in midfield, because when you watch Kylian Mbappe, I watched him against Poland, I've watched him against PSG, lots of times this season, and Rabiot does a lot of work from him in this French side, because he doesn't track back, but he's got Theo Hernandez, who I think is the best left back in European football, who's rapid. So on that left hand side, Mbappe is not going to track back, so I'm pretty sure Gareth Southgate will be trying to get his full-backs a little bit high and say to Mbappe, listen, if you're not going to track it back, that's going to be a positive for us and a weakness for you. Well, it's the risk and reward, isn't it? Because as soon as you give the ball away, if you give it away in a cheap area or a dangerous area, and Rabiot then bangs it into Mbappe, who's 1v1 with his full-back, then there's all sorts of dilemmas then for Kyle Walker. But everyone's talking about this sort of matchup with Kyle Walker and Kylian Mbappe, but they're forgetting about the position of Griezmann, who plays as the number 10. They're forgetting about Dembele. They're forgetting about the form of Giroud. So this screams to me like goals galore, Dan. It screams to me like it could be one of the best games in the quarterfinals. I think it's exciting now that there's two teams who are in real good form, but I've got France as favourites.
Frank, you're only on in this segment. I better ask you something else. What else do you want to talk
about? It's just because you know me. I'm being very humble, and respectful towards your almighty England. I think everybody wants to know, what's going to happen for Mbappe fighting against Kyle Walker. Because even Mbappe said the guy is a tank running as fast as I do. Everybody knows that Kyle Walker is a fantastic player. The only thing is he comes back from injury, so everybody's expecting him to be maybe a little bit slower, less endurance, but it's going to be the real fight that everybody is looking forward to seeing it, and that's what it's going to be. Again, it's only about details. How are they going to play? How Deschamps is going to decide to play his team maybe a little bit lower on the field to allow England to lead the game, but leave some spaces behind the two central defenders for Dembele and Mbappe, of course, to maybe play in counter-attack. We'll see. We can elaborate every tactic, but we'll have to be patient.
Craig Burley, the only one going for an England win.
Why not?
Hold on. Oh no, sorry.
Dear me! Someone lining him up.
What's rattling around in that head?
I was looking at the scores. Me and him's got 3-2.
Yeah, I went 3-2.
I was thinking about that at the time, sorry.
I went 3-2 to England. I tell you, it's focus today, Stephen.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think it is such a close game. One of the reasons, I mean, I suppose it is sort of the moment of truth for Harry Maguire. We talked about him before the tournament, how it is so difficult to not play regular and play at this level. I suppose in some sense, Stevie mentioned Senegal, I suppose in some sense the USA put them under a little bit of pressure. Senegal ramped it up, the French will ramp it up even more. Can he stand firm? I think if him and Stones can, along with Walker, and I think Walker has been a brilliant fullback for years, if they can do that, I actually think England have got, once you go past Mbappe, I think England have more in those forward positions. I presume Sterling's going to be back available, not playing.
He's travelling back.
He's going to be back available. Then you got Grealish, then you got Rashford, you got Foden, Saka, Kane, Bellingham. All these guys. I just think England have a lot there. If they can nullify, and that is a big question at the other end. And you're not going to stop Mbappe and Griezmann and Giroud for 90 minutes. But if you can nullify to a certain extent, I do think England have enough going forward to win this game. But I agree with everything.